sublime moment that's almost kind of cool. And it's that in-between spot before you hit. And the hitting is always the hardest part, I've always thought. So that's a really interesting space to investigate. We all got these, right? In some place, in some point of somebody's life, we all had the experience of losing our balance, losing our grasp on reality, and if not physically, on the ground that we're standing on. And I like this image a lot. I mean, they're kind of campy to a certain degree. I'm a big film buff, so that might explain why the kind of cinematic campiness of it. But of course, I love this. I mean, I just love the shoe catching right in there. It's a perfect pivot point. You can imagine the body just swinging, wham, right into the dirt, and he did not get away. So, you know, I work with issues of fear and anxiety, but I also work with issues of control and what happens in those positions of fear and anxiety, and what our control is in situations like that. So, you know, I try to go around making this work. I look for places that I say, you know, where can I feel compromised, or where do I feel compromised in my life, and how can I find a way to express that visually? The philosopher Martin Heidegger, he basically he expressed his ideas of the human condition as always in a constant state of falling or motion, falling from something to, or back from another. And the human condition is always in this state, and it's up to our own responsibility to catch ourselves when we fall. It's up to ourselves to pull ourselves back from the brink when we get so anxiety-ridden, like I was today, trying to get this PowerPoint stuff together. Supposed to be here at 5 o'clock, couldn't do it, yelling at Donna's computer and my inability with PowerPoint is a space, losing your keys. You can't find them. You know, you got to get somewhere. All these places that we inhabit, you know, I think that Heidegger was right to a certain degree. I think we are. We're constantly always trying to keep ourselves balanced. I saw a guy on television today who survived being burned up in a car accident. He said that dying was easy. Living is the hard part. You know, everyday interstate overpass, we all have them. We all know where they are. And so what I would do is I would leap from, essentially, if you look over here, you've got an area that comes down where the embankment of the interstate comes in. So I would leap onto the embankment and roll into the sidelines of oncoming traffic. I have to wait, you know, the cars are honking at me. The police came, of course, for this one. So I would just do this. I'm wearing a business suit. I got dress shoes on, everything, not the most comfortable. I'm wearing tinny pumps. I don't have my Nikes on. So I'd hit the ground and then roll into traffic and go back up and do it again. This was a hard shot to make. Now, largely, I was looking for something like this. You know, I wasn't really, here's all the media, here's going on. I thought this was going to be kind of a fun way. I had more ways of approaching. So now instead of this being about crisis, I decided to turn it around. And I based this on, it's called Life Goes On, but I started to call it Ratings. And because I figured this is all about the media, and I started using Noam Chomsky's manufacturing consent as a groundwork to talk about how the media is so manipulative in our society, and how just corrosive it is. And so I wanted people to start thinking about that rather than what I'm doing. And so I can change some of these images around here. This used to be called, it's called contemporary. I took out the art part. I think I might put art back in there because it's a nice joke on me and the art world. I think this is a good little, what you have to be now in order to be a famous artist is actually you have to be able to levitate. You have to be Jesus now in this art world to actually get some notice. And I think that's a fun, I love that image actually. I really do. I'm now investigating mixed martial arts cage fighting. For the past year and a half, I've been training at the Pittsburgh Fight Club for mixed martial arts cage fighting. I went in at 175. I weighed 148 in my first jiu-jitsu tournament. I'm 38. I have no health insurance. And I'm getting old. It's not like I'm a spring chicken anymore. But I had to lie and say I was 29 so I could fight the guys that were 25 because the guys that were 39 or 38 were all 180 pounds. And I couldn't be, you know, as you get older, you fill out. And I was bound and determined to be all cut and ripped and everything. So I've been following these guys, been shooting their fights. This is Dave. Dave's one of our, he just got King of the Cage in Atlantic City. He's a professional fighter now, and he's one of our trainers. Dave's badass. But there's really something amazing about this combat thing between men, between women, in a way that, you know, I think of the wars that are going on now and how people are, this tension that's going on. And I really kind of wanted to get into those in-between scenes, those in-between places of fighting, and men against men, or indeed, I think it's probably man against himself. When it comes back down to it, it's still against you can get as good as you can, but the fight's still against yourself when you get in that cage. The nerves that I have talking to you, the same nerves are still there. It's the fight that we have, the internal struggle. Fighting is the same thing. But the great thing about these guys is when they fight, they hug each other at the end, say, good job, man, kicked my ass, that was a great fight. And they're proud. And this is Kama Worthy, nice gentleman at the club, giving me a fine flying knee, taking me completely off of the mat. Now, of course, as they're staged, I can't say that I'm taking the knee and actually getting this high off the ground, but I still like what it's doing, and I think they're really interesting. And I'm having a great time. I mean, these kids are fun. So I just wanted to share this with you, and I just want to say thanks, and thanks to my mother for giving me these